It's been more than 3 decades since the Menendez brothers shot and killed their parents inside the family's Beverly Hills mansion. But was it cold-blooded murder for money or manslaughter driven by a lifetime of sexual abuse? While the brothers admitted to committing the brutal crime, there is renewed debate over their sentence. Both Lyle and Eric are serving life in prison without the possibility of parole.
KTLA's Mary Beth McDade takes a look at some newly discovered evidence that could set the brothers free.
What's the problem? I'm sorry to kill my parents. Pardon me? Don't kill me.
It was a murder case that captivated the nation. Lyle and Eric Menendez killed their parents, Jose and Kitty, in August of 1989 inside their Beverly Hills mansion.
I think it's a combination of rich kids, Beverly Hills, a movie executive father, a wife that was a housewife and involved in charities, and the brothers were nationally ranked tennis players.
The case was televised gavel to gavel on Court TV.
There were people that were just following this case like a soap opera, like a novella, because it had so many twists and turns.
Well, the twists and turns continue today as newly discovered evidence leads to the filing of a habeas petition and quite possibly the key to set the brothers free after nearly 35 years behind bars.
We filed the habeas because we thought it was significant given the evidence that we'd come up with.
So what is this new evidence? Journalist Robert Rand has covered both Menendez trials and done books and a docuseries on this case. He remains close with the brothers and many family members. And now Rand points to a newly discovered letter found in a deceased family member's belongings supporting the brothers' claims of abuse.
I found a letter that Eric Menendez had written to his cousin Andy Cano in November of 1988, 9 months before Jose and Kitty Menendez were killed. And in that letter, Eric Menendez complains about the ongoing sexual abuse by his father.
Cousin Andy testified Eric would confide in him about the abuse.
Well, he told me his father was massaging his
And it was written before the homicides took place and laid out all of the abuse that was going on. And it's, I think, compelling when you read it.
And in Rand's docuseries, Menendez plus Menudo, Boys Betrayed, a former member of the Menudo Boys Band, Roy Rossello, revealed allegations that Jose had also molested him. At the time, Jose was an executive with RNC and had signed the band to a record deal.
That, I think, was the game changer, I've always said. The fact that there was yet another person who was molested by Jose.
What about the prosecution's theory they killed their parents out of greed?
It wasn't like these were destitute kids who needed to kill their parents in order to live larger than life. They were living in the lap of luxury at the time, but obviously there was something dysfunctional going on.
Most relatives knew that although the Menendez family appeared to be picture perfect, they were far from it.
One of the things that always struck me once I got into the case was that apparently they knew, the family knew, there was a rule that you could not go down the hallway, and Kitty enforced it, if one of the sons was alone in the room with Jose.
Many of the defense's 60 witnesses, consisting of family members, friends, teachers, and coaches, testified at the first trial about the years of abuse that left the brothers fearing for their lives. They now feel the brothers have served enough time and want them released from prison.
There's a reason 24 of the family members have all signed a petition that they should be out.
The first trial in 1993 resulted in a hung jury. The second, when no abuse testimony was allowed, resulted in a murder conviction. The sentence, life without the possibility of parole. But with this new evidence, Garagos feels optimistic the brothers may finally be set free.
I feel confident. I feel very confident, actually.
The LADA's office is expected to respond to the habeas petition any day now. Coming up next week, we're going to take a closer look at whether justice was served or if the Menendez brothers were misjudged. For now, in News Center, Mary Beth McDade will send it back to you guys in the studio.